Hi all, and welcome to another look behind the scenes of some sculpts. This project is three little vehicles based mostly within the Metal Slug universe. Metal Slug was a retro video game that I put way too many 20-cent pieces through as a young person, and have since played on console and in emulators as well. I still love the universe. The reason why I love the universe mostly is just the deformed kind of proportions of all of the characters and vehicles. So I made the decision that I wanted to have a bit of a play within that universe without making any of the exact vehicles, but trying to do something that was inspired by that universe. So here's the three vehicles. Let's have a look at them one by one. So let's make a start by having a look at this tank. The Metal Slug universe, as I said before, is really all about these kind of super deformed proportions, big bubbly shapes, lots of overly round kind of proportions. I've taken that a little bit further, mostly because of the material that I'm using. I'm using Super Sculpey once again, and Super Sculpey kind of lends itself to organic shapes, but I must admit I kind of struggle a little bit with getting really sharp edges. So one of the reasons why I thought I'd play within this the Metal Slug universe is the idea that everything kind of has rounded off edges anyway. So we can get this kind of feel of an organic shape. Super Sculpey Firm I used for these. It's nice for getting details. You can see the little rivets there are actually just made by poking a little brass tube into the clay to make it feel like there's actually a rivet there. The mechanical side of things, once again, working in Super Sculpey, not the best way to get those exact shapes, but once again, you know, I make no apologies for this being a little blobby shaped vehicle. Some nice little track marks around the back there. The grass that you can see here, if you head on down to your local model railway store, they have heaps of this stuff that you can buy in packs, and it's just basically super glued on. Rocks from the garden, of course, just to give it a little bit of that realism. And I actually really like the way the realism plays off the kind of organic and cartoony nature of the vehicle. I tried hard to get some kind of more realistic paints, so we've got some metallic acrylic. We've got a bit of rub and buff once again, and a fair bit of weathering, including the kind of oiliness around the wheels and things like that. So all about just trying to get a bit of narrative behind this little vehicle. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So the next piece is more like a walking robot. I was going to make lots of legs and decided to just go with 4. I wanted to give it the chance to kind of have a bit of negative space around it, and after making a couple of legs, I realized that having more than that, having more than 4 was going to mean that I was going to be really cramming things in. Same construction exactly, and once again, hopefully you can see how this fits into that same universe. This has a little bit more detail in the kind of riveted areas, but I still wanted to try and get that feel that there's panels involved, and the practicality of how exactly the mechanics of this work. There's some kind of cheaty universal joints happening in there, but on the whole I kind of like the design. I think it holds together fairly well. Same color scheme. I wanted these vehicles to feel like they were from not only the same universe, but maybe from the same side, if that makes sense. And it's lording it over its win. It's taken down a much larger object. I think I might actually have a go at making the whatever was once attached to that arm, or that arm was attached to. A little bit of oil splattered on the ground, and once again a whole bunch of that kind of grass and some lichen, just peppered around to make it feel like there's a little bit of a diorama there. I actually really like the pose. I think the pose ended up really well, like really great. I love the way it feels like it's kind of pushing off with that leg to be able to reach out to plant that other foot. I quite like the way those little lights came out as well. So once again, Super Sculpey gives you a really kind of blobby and cartoony feel, but fits for that universe. Okay. So this next one was a bit more of a challenge, and I must admit I did make it because I wanted to see how far I could push this universe, or the aesthetic within the universe. So this is based on one of my favourite planes from World War II, the Lightning with the double tail. I've been obsessed with them since I was a kid. Obviously taking that and bringing it into that cartoony proportions, it loses a little bit of the silhouette, and I think probably the only thing I don't like about this one is that it's really hard to photograph. I think it actually works really well in this format, being able to look around it and seeing it in 360, but taking photos, it's hard to get angles that are perfect, so I'm not sure that I got the silhouette right. Still happy with the overall piece. So the idea of this little diorama is that someone, an engineer, is fixing it up or getting it ready to go back into battle. It's got some obvious damage on it, including a bullet hole in the window. Still acrylic paint, so you can see, pushing the window idea. I'm not going to use real glass. I'm going to paint it so that it feels like it's that kind of cartoon glass. And the engineer's having a bit of a break. That is the biggest teapot in the world, but hey, if you're going to be an engineer, you may as well have a giant teapot to fill your giant cup of tea. And eating what I presume is an egg sandwich with a little bit of lettuce as well. I was really happy with the way the character worked out. Once again, it kind of fits with that the feel of the universe, and I think the blue colors in this piece really give it that detail that it needs. Everything's kind of brown and gray, and just popping those little splashes of blue on the goggles and blue on the windscreen really helped things. I was always obsessed as a kid with those awesome ball turrets that are on the back of the bombers from World War II, and I think I'm really happy with the way that one worked out. Does the engineer feel like it would fit inside? I think this makes sense as a two-person vehicle. One with the gunner jammed in that back area, and one sitting crammed into the cockpit. And once again, that kind of fits with that aesthetic of the universe. This is just on a piece of cork, so it does give it that feel of kind of pitted asphalt. So there wasn't too much in the way of hard work to get that happening. Earl Grey, I'm sure. Okay. Let's leave it at that. I'll throw some progress pictures up at the end here, and you can have a look and see how this all came together. Okay, thanks for tuning in again. See you next time.